Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you my thoughts regarding something that I've been getting bombarded with questions about, and that is Atlus's policies on streaming and creating video content for Persona 5. Don't worry about the green screen. I wasn't intending on using it in this video. It's just there because I didn't want to take it down. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to read you some excerpts from the actual post, but I'm also going to include a link to what I'm reading from in the description of the video. So scroll down, grab that, and follow along if you're someone who wants to read this for yourself. So TLDR, Atlus has a restriction on streaming and creating content for Persona 5, so much so that it's nearly impossible to actually produce content safely without having to worry about a content ID claim or a channel suspension in the worst case scenario. So I'm going to read you their restrictions on creating video content, and then I'm going to read you their restrictions on streaming content. Then I'm going to give you my thoughts on it, and we can go from there. So anyway, in terms of the limitation, these are the limits you have on creating videos, regardless of platform. You can post however many videos you'd like, but each video should not be longer than 90 minutes. You can post straight gameplay or have commentary, so there's no restriction there. That's just a clarification. No major story spoilers, and I'll leave that up to your good judgment. If you need some guidelines, avoid spoiling the ending segments of the first 3 dungeons. Now, I actually renamed it. This post in itself probably has 4 or 5 spoilers about individual characters and plot points, and I'm going to make sure I edit all that out for you. I'm just going to use different words so you guys aren't spoiled by anything. So the first 3 dungeons. While you can show initial interactions with character, avoid his blank scene and that whole deal about the thing. Also, don't post anything about a certain person. They're very specific about what they're talking about here, and it's kind of silly because there's like 5 spoilers. And the whole point of this post, which we'll get into later, is about preventing spoilers. So the irony there is staggering. I know I mentioned not showing the end of each dungeon, but you can grab footage from the blank boss fight. However, don't capture video from other major boss fights. So only one of the bosses can you actually even use video footage of. All the other bosses are off limits. Must not focus solely on cutscenes or animated scenes. Should prominently feature dungeon crawling, spending time in the city. So I guess that kind of clarifies a few things. If you played Persona, you know spending time in the city really does involve the social links and going around. So it's really the major story points that they want to keep out of it. But Persona is like 80% story, 15% waifu, and 5% gameplay. So they pretty much limited 95% of the game by doing that right there. Now, on top of that, when it comes to streaming, all of those guidelines apply minus the length. So you're still not supposed to stream past that boss fight that I told you, all these scenes with the specific characters and the things that they've been very specific about. But on top of that, there's a specific day in the game. Persona games have an in-game calendar that you can follow because you're basically following a year in the life of a high school student. And there's all this crazy shit that's happening. If you stream past the in-game date of July 7th, you are, and I'm reading this word for word, you do so at the risk of being issued a content ID claim or worse, a channel strike / account suspension. That is a major, major thing. Now, Atlus USA says that this is because their masters over in Japan are wary about streaming the game. So they've blocked it natively on the PS4 as well. And it's causing a massive stir-up, especially on Twitch. I know a lot of YouTubers who are incredibly concerned about producing content for a game that they've been looking forward to for a really, really long time. Atlus USA says they're still ongoing in negotiations to try and see what they can get. So, by the way, big shout out to Atlus USA. It seems like Atlus USA is really trying because they understand that for people in the West, that this is a very normal thing in our culture and that it's very different over in Japan. It's just not something that's a culturally accepted thing over in Japan. So big shout out to Atlus USA for doing all the hard work that they can. But ultimately, this leaves me at a bit of a sour spot because I was someone who was looking forward to Persona 5. I mentioned it on occasion in my Monday videos on things like State of the Realm, or if you come by my live stream almost every day. I played through Personas 3 and 4, didn't play through 1 and 2, and I'm not a huge Shin Megami Tensei guy in general. But Persona 5 was something since September I've heard so many great things about, and I was really looking forward to getting into a great JRPG. And you know what? After playing around 15, 16 hours, I will tell you, it's great. I love pretty much everything about it for the same reasons why I love the other Persona games. But on top of that, it's improved the things that were mediocre about the other Persona games. The dungeon design, the way the characters interact with each other is a little bit better, or at least is not as dated as it was. Although there's still some of the little annoying things, but that just comes with the fact that I played in English and not Japanese. So it's great. It's a great game, and I highly recommend it if none of this bothers you. But the big thing is here, I cannot produce any YouTube content because there's so many restrictions here. It's so ambiguous that I don't even want to take the chance. Maybe do a dungeon video and show you where all the loot is and what the path is to get through it. But even then, I'd have to cut out. There's a ton of cutscenes that happen as you're going throughout a dungeon, and I'd have to cut those out because they would definitely be story spoilers. And then on top of that, I can't do any sort of playthrough. I can't take you through certain choices that lead to endings or social links or things like that. So, and I can't even show you past a certain day. So there's dungeons I wouldn't even be able to show you about. So there's no point in me creating YouTube content as long as all these restrictions are in place. And then on top of that, on Twitch, I'm afraid to even stream past where I am right now because I'm in the second dungeon of the game. And that's past where they say I can't show any more boss fights. That's it. So I'm concerned even at the point where I am there, and I've started being introduced to some of these characters that they mention. So I'm stuck. Like, I can't even really stream the game anymore. So now it's just one of those games I'll play on the side or wait to see if this policy change actually comes through. Maybe by the time I release this video, there's a policy change. Now, I think the ultimate thing here is to accept one major fact. I am upset at their choices. However, it is their original intellectual property. They own all the rights. They created it. I, as someone who creates videos on YouTube and streams games on Twitch, am using their intellectual property, and yes, I do earn a living off of that. So I have absolutely no right to complain about the way that they want to handle the content creation for their game, for Persona 5. If anything, the best I can be is disappointed. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys to raise your pitchforks. I'm not going to tell you guys to go tweet at them and do all this crazy shit. If anything, if you do tweet at them or if you do voice your opinions to Atlus, do so in a concise manner. Let them know you're disappointed. Let them know what you think, but do it in such a way that we don't sound like raving lunatics. Because when stuff like this happens, it's very easy for us to just lose our minds. I remember when Final Fantasy XIV was first being launched, they said that they weren't going to allow any YouTube videos or Twitch streams or anything like that. They fixed it within 2 or 3 days, but I released a video that was like a sob story, like, oh guys, I made my channel based on this game. I was going to, try to go and be, start being a streamer and make all this YouTube video and, all these restrictions they're placing on it. They say they'll do content ID claims just like this. I don't know what I can do in order to actually even keep this up. Like this whole huge stop start. I'm not going to do that with this game. I'm just going to tell you I'm disappointed in Atlus's decision, and I hope that it sees some sort of reversal. I'd ask that you, in a mature manner, express similar concerns, if you even have them. If you don't have any concerns, that's perfectly fine, because this only affects people like me, other YouTubers, Twitch streamers, Beam streamers, whatever platform. It affects us. It doesn't necessarily affect you unless you're somebody who likes to consume the content online over YouTube. So it's up to you, the way you want to handle the situation, consider it. It affects me in a minor amount. I just don't play Persona 5, basically, and that's the end of it, pretty much. Whatever, that's not a big deal for me. I don't have to play it or I don't have to stream it. I can just play it on the side if I really, really want to get through it and I'm passionate about it. So I just wanted to share with you my thoughts on that. The 7-7 memes are real. And in case you're wondering, by the way, Persona's just, it's great. It's great as it is. So if you don't care about any of this at all, go buy it, because it's fantastic. It's fantastic JRPG if you're into Persona games in the first place. But those are my thoughts, and I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are. So be sure to also comment under the video and let me know what your thoughts are on Atlus's policies over here. And I'll let you know if we see a change in the next few days. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. I just wanted to share that, not scripted or anything. So I'll just see you in the next video because I got to work on other stuff now. So thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.